another test answer that's coming to a school near you. You have, if you live outside of Texas, which you have to ask yourself why, but if you live outside of Texas, you're gonna have something really special called Common Core in your schools. And this is nationwide. If you don't know about it, you really, really need to learn about it quickly. It is really nasty. And there's nothing common in this core at all. There's not anything in there that you're going to agree with. Common Core is what you have. In Texas, we stood up against Common Core and said not in our schools. And instead, what we grabbed onto was C-Scope. Here's another fantastic C-Scope answer to a test.
When Kara Sands posted this test on her Facebook page, it began to spread like wildfire. The test covers content watched on a video in class. What bothered her most? Number 3 on this test that asked why the U.S. may be a target for terrorism. The correct answer: decisions we made in the United States that negatively impact people elsewhere.
I'm not going to justify radical terrorists by saying we did anything to deserve that. Over 3,000 people died.
Sands says she contacted her son's principal and teacher. Both met with her and contacted the video's distributor, Safari Montage. Representatives say they stand behind the video, but have already changed the corresponding quiz. But Sands says this quiz opened her eyes to the content in lessons taught at the school. Her biggest concern?
There's more.
Curriculum called C-Scope. This worksheet on the Bill of Rights names food and medicine as rights, not personal responsibility.
He got marked wrong. Instead of that. Okay. Right. Because it is our responsibility for shelter. It is our responsibility, if we can, for food, for medicine. It's not the government's responsibility.
Flower Bluff officials say Sands is the only parent to complain about the test specifically, but her post on Facebook now has 1,662 likes.
Is that incredible? She's the only one to complain. One parent complained about it. I don't know if the rest just don't pay attention.
How many parents say, "What'd you learn in school today?" Nothing. We talked about, I had a test, and that's where it ends.
Yeah.
And that's where it ends. And that's the problem. And that's why they can get away with it. And anybody who thinks that this is not being taught in your school, listen, it is much, much worse than we thought. It is much worse than we ever thought. 2 years ago, we knew it was bad. 4 years ago, we thought it was pretty bad. Now we know it is beyond any of your wildest thoughts. The indoctrination that is going on in C-Scope and with Common Core is beyond your understanding. And I mean, have you guys seen, Pat, have you seen anything worse than this? As far as indoctrination, have you seen anything worse than what's going in?
No, I don't think so.
Have you seen anything worse than this in any college class?
Not that I can remember.
Yeah. I mean, it is as bad. You remember the guy who came out and he was, what was his name? He was in Colorado. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm an Indian. No, you're not.
Ward Churchill.
Ward Churchill.
Yeah.
Remember how bad that was?
Yeah.
This is what is in the curriculum now. Ward Churchill is in the curriculum. Though that kind of thinking is what we are spoon feeding our children, and we do not last another generation. We do not. They are. If any damage that you think that we have done because we have been lax and not taught things, now we really are teaching things, and we are teaching incorrect principles. If you teach incorrect principles, man will not be able to rule himself. You teach a man correct principles, and man can rule himself. They are teaching all of the incorrect principles. It's not a right. God didn't give you a right to food and medicine. He gave you a right to live. He gave you a right to yourself and to pursue an opportunity. You know who gave you a right to housing? You know who gave you a right to food? Adolf Hitler, Stalin, and Mao. Congratulations if you want it. Oh my gosh, and our states are in so much trouble. Even the state of state of Texas is in big, big trouble. And we got to wake up. Got to wake up. Here's the warning bell, guys. Please Find out everything you can about Common Core. Start having meetings. Start having parents get together. Look for it online. Look for somebody who is a leader on this in your area. Between Agenda 21, Common Core, what they're doing to our financial system, and what they're about to do with our guns, you will not make it. When I say you won't make it, I mean, I don't think we're going to make it. I think we're out before you are. You think somebody who is on the air, and I mean this for all talk radio people, do you think people who are on the air, who are standing against an oppressive government, do you think you survive? Do you think at the best, do you think you keep your job? These people who are working for newspapers and not reporting on this stuff, do you really think it's going to matter soon? When the economy tanks, when we become Cyprus, when we become Greece, and there's no advertising left, your newspaper is out of business. And so what happens? The government gets in. Now the government has all of its hands in all of the reporting. Worse than it is now. There's not a chance that there's any truth. I got an email from the documentary film unit last night and said, Glenn, you got to read this story. It was the story about the DHS and the way they are now the DHS is reading all of our email. Now the DHS is just going in doing everything that we said in For the Record 2 weeks ago. They're now confirming that they're doing. And do you hear any outcry? Do you hear anybody standing up and saying, DHS is now doing what? There's no outcry. It's not even on the news. Why? Because as Rabbi Daniel Lapin said yesterday on the program, most people, 80% of people are fine with slavery. They're fine with not rocking the boat. They're fine with whatever it is. Yesterday, the president is in Israel. Here they are in Israel, and he's given a medal yesterday from Israel. I mean, what are you guys thinking? He's given a medal, so he's been given credibility by the government, but he destroys their credibility by saying, I'm not going to meet with them, I'm not going to speak to the Knesset, and I'm going to meet with the radicals. And what did he say yesterday in one of his speeches? One of the most incredible statements I have ever heard. It makes the, Israel and Palestinians, there's no difference between the United States and Canada and Israel and the Palestinians. Well, except for the killing of the children and the blowing up of the buses and the rockets, yeah, I guess you're right. But that was mild compared to what else he said. He also said, Israeli parents, you need to meet some of these great Palestinian kids, because they just want peace. That's really what they want. They just want peace, and they're just like you. And you would, if you sat down with them and talked to them like I have, you would know. You'd know that they're good kids. Really? Who have been indoctrinated by the Muslim Brotherhood and worse, to hate all Jews. Really? This guy is the most crazy, out of touch, or out and out dangerous man we have ever had in the office of the president of the United States.
He also talked about Israel occupying their own land. Occupying? You don't occupy your own country.
Yes, he believes.
But he believes they do.
He believes we do. He's never said it, but he believes we do, or you would not be sitting and talking to people like La Raza. He believes we're occupiers in this land. He believes everybody in the West is an occupier. Go back to wherever it is you're from, Norway or whatever. I mean, I really believe that. We're occupiers. How can Israel be occupiers in their own land? How can we be occupiers in our own land? Well, all you have to do to believe that is go to school. And Common Core will teach that to you. Common Core will teach you that Columbus was an environmentalist, that he was an environmental warrior. How stupid do you have to be to believe that? Well, all you have to do to believe that is not be able to read or write or do any kind of math by the time you graduate from high school. If you're that stupid, you'll believe it. If you're that stupid, you will be a slave. Don't you see what they're doing? They are making us all into slaves. We will be a slave to the state. Everything that the left has always said that they hated. Oh, you're going to be a slave to a giant corporation, and that corporation is the United States of America. That's true. That's what we're building. We are building a corporation, a global corporation. And you're trained to what? Work in the corporation. I don't want to work for the corporation. I don't want to be, why do you think all of the wages and all of the benefits are double what you can get outside of the corporation? You go as a federal worker, you get double the wages and the benefits than what you can find outside. Why is that? Why do you think they are training our kids, besides just destroying any kind of love for reading? They're having them read EPA manuals. They're having them read federal regulations. 2 reasons. 1, you hate reading. Who wants to read that stuff? You don't even want to read that stuff. Are you kidding me? That's like Christmas presents for guys. You open it up and all it is a booklet of instructions. You don't even get anything to build. It's just the instruction book. No thanks. So they kill the love of reading. And the second reason is anybody who wants to get through that stuff, the Cass Sunsteins of America, this is great. And I know exactly where I can get a job. Training you to understand regulations. Training you that over classic literature, regulations are what matter. It's all in C-Scope, and it's all in your school, and it's all up to each of us as individuals to stop it at the local level and the state level, but you've only got a certain amount of time. They're trying to stop C-Scope here in Texas, but the GOP appears to be slowing that down. Let me say it again. The Republicans in Texas seem to be standing in the way, or at least a few of the Republicans seem to be standing in the way of stopping C-Scope. Be very careful, America, on who you trust. It seems as though there's an awful lot of GOP members that are much more comfortable with a progressive Democrat than they are with anybody who stands with the Constitution and for smaller government. Be very careful.